when you're trying to multitask, things never go as well as they could have. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. If you want your business to be successful, then you need to focus. There are so many things that are trying to just grab your attention. Every time your mind is distracted, it takes a pretty big chunk of time, more than you would think, before you're able to get back in and be focused on the task that you were performing. If your phone is not on airplane mode, if you are actually getting those Etsy notifications and you know when someone likes an item, leaves feedback, sends you a conversation, or even buys something, each one of those things, it's a distraction. It's an exciting distraction, but it's one that you need to stop listening to. Put your phone in airplane mode so that you aren't getting those little distractions and being pulled out of whatever task you're doing. Because every time that happens, it's actually costing you productivity. It's not something that you can afford. A lot of people run Etsy businesses as side businesses. So already there's a very small amount of time that you're able to devote to your shop. But even if it isn't a side business, you want to be at your best and you don't want to be pulled out of your focus just for a little notification. And I know that Etsy is also really trying to get sellers to respond to customers as soon as possible. In order to get into the Star Seller program, you need to respond to customers within 24 hours of their first message. That's 24 hours. It's not immediately. Your customers are going to be fine if they have to wait several hours. I recommend not even knowing that these conversations are coming in and then setting aside a chunk for each day, maybe 2 chunks if you feel like you need that, where you're sitting down and you're responding to conversations at a designated time. That way you respond within 24 hours, but you're not being distracted and you're not being pulled out of whatever important work that you were doing. The more you switch back and forth between tasks, the more fatigued you become. So even if you are well rested, it's as though you've gotten less sleep. To combat that, batch things. You can batch shipping. You can batch designing your products. Even your social media posts. You don't have to sit there and create a post for every day. You can sit down for the first half of the day, lay out every post that's going up this week, and then schedule them to be listed when you say go. And then set aside a certain time of the day where you can jump on social media and respond to any comments that you got, or at least like them, because that is building that customer relationship that you want. I mentioned that it makes you more fatigued, and if you're tired, you're more likely to call somebody by the wrong name or misspell their name or ship the wrong thing, and that is not creating the kind of relationship with your customer that you ultimately want. So don't do it. Make sure that you are on top of your game, multitask less and focus more and stay in one subject. At the end of the day, I always think about cleaning my house when I think about multitasking. Sometimes I find myself starting with, say, laundry. I bring up my laundry to fold it. I start folding it and I notice that there's a mug sitting there. I take the mug down to the kitchen. I have not finished folding my laundry and I start to do the dishes because there's some dishes in the sink. I get partway through the dishes and I remember, oh, I have to pay some bills. So then I switch over to paying those bills. And at the end of the day, yes, you have done things, but you haven't completed a defined task. And so for me, I'm not making the progress that I want to make. Instead of losing yourself in the chaos of cleaning your house and getting distracted by laundry and dishes and garbage, you need to focus on just doing the dishes, on just getting your new listing set up. You can check it off, it is done, and you've actually accomplished something. If you stick around on my channel for any length of time, you will hear me say that small transactions add up. And I mean that in terms of sales and profit, yes, but I also mean that in terms of time. And time is a very precious thing. It is our most limited resource. So if you can do things like focus on one task instead of multitasking, you'll get back these little bits of time from not experiencing those distractions. That will add up. So at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, when you look back at everything that you've accomplished and all the tasks that you've 100% completed, you will have achieved something pretty big and impressive. If you are still on the fence about starting an Etsy shop, then you're definitely going to want to check out this video up here where I recommend what I would do if I were starting all over.